So let's speak to Kate Hardcastle now as a consumer and retail expert at Insight with Passion. Kate, good afternoon.
Hi there.
So, panic buying or bulk buying or shopping, as the Asian community have called it for many years. What is the problem here? Is there a lack of supply?
The supermarkets and the governments have been saying on a pretty daily basis, please do not do it, and there is no need to do it. To be a little bit more engaged with the reason why people are doing it, I think we have to look into the psychology of it. We're all hearing this news unfolding hour by hour, thanks to brilliant stations like yours. We're trying to get updates. We don't know what's happening. So members of the British public have very little they can do by washing their hands and trying to protect their families, and they want to do something. That's naturally what happens in these occurrences. So emotionally, getting hold of your shopping and saying, well, I'm going to protect my family because if we have to self-isolate, if we have to be locked away, I'm going to at least make sure that we're provided for, is quite cave-like in terms of the thinking, but it's naturally what our brains, it goes into that mode, it goes into that modus operandi. What we have to do is resist that. But then with the thanks of social media, we see the pictures of the empty shelves, we see the worrying images, and we think, oh my goodness, this is all happening. This is the toilet paper Armageddon I've been hearing about. I'm going to run to my nearest store and buy many, many rolls. The fact is that if you do that, potentially you're going to challenge yourself financially because you really need to be watching your finances right now, as we've just heard. You're probably going to find that a lot of that product you can't then use within 1 week. You can't freeze it if it's food that you've got that's fresh. And you end up with an oversurplus, and actually it's quite challenging for you to manage that through. So the best thing to do is just to keep abreast in it. And if you need to get the reassurance, go onto the online shopping sites, even if you're going to go into a store, and see how much product and see how much stock they've got and what the offers are, because actually there are still offers on pretty much every product. The only out that I've seen, and I was all day in supermarkets yesterday, is antibacterial gel.
Now, I'm sure supermarkets would be very responsible in all this, but of course this is also an opportunity to make rather a lot of money. They're not in any way, shape or form manipulating this?
I'm not affiliated to any supermarket.
That's why I'm asking you. Exactly right, because you're not.
No, I'm not. And I've been championing fairer consumer buy-in for decades now. And I've been very pleased to see the rise of the discounters and brands that have come in to shake up that marketplace. But let's just look at the supply and demand economy of it. Honestly, if someone bought a lot of toilet roll now, then they used it throughout a normal course of events, they're not going to be buying it next month or the month after. I can't imagine anyone wants to sit on a mountain of it. So is that going to financially help any supermarket? No, it's going to mess up their supply chain. They're going to have to probably employ more people to look at their stock levels because their systems will be telling them to order much more of it now, and they're going to have to be working hard to know how much of it do they need to bring forward. They're going to be speaking to their suppliers. I can't see how you could profiteer. Certainly, are the people profiteering out of this? Yes, because hand gel selling for 50 quid online. Obviously, please avoid at all costs.
Yes.
But
when actual soap will do.
Yeah, wash your hands. Yeah. I think genuinely the supermarkets are trying to act responsible here. If you go onto most websites, there is that reassurance of the product being there. Things I have noticed is if you want a delivery slot, for instance, to your home, that's extended greatly. So some of them, they're already into Monday next week now. There's no weekend deliveries available. But that, again, will be sheer demand on that. Are they going to stack up and buy a lot more vans and train a lot more drivers to try and deal with this in the short term? Probably not. You're going to have to wait your turn. But you can be well planned in these situations.
Mary is in Leamington Spa with a question for you. Mary, good afternoon.
Right. Good afternoon.
So what would you like to ask Kate? Kate, meet Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Kate. I'm just wondering, how can we be confident that stockpiling isn't necessary when a basic thing such as the alcohol sanitizer for hands is totally out of stock, cannot be got in any supermarket or in any pharmacy? So I'm just wondering, if other things like medical supplies and, just basic food supplies, that the same is going to happen.
If it's all right, Mary, I'll take each bit by each bit. When it comes to your food supplies, I'm a woman who likes to budget. I've got 3 children and I want to make sure that I'm ready for a rainy day any time of the year. So with a full cupboard and a full freezer, and I mean packed properly, not just used as an ice box, I have got enough food for months there. And I don't need to buy any more in a panicked way to make sure that there's enough meals should I need to rely on that. And I'm talking about any scenario like suddenly losing work or something that your family needs. I think that's a sensible amount of food and product to buy. So I wouldn't be buying huge excess of anything. With regards to the antibacterial gel, there just wasn't the expectation for the planners that there would be such a hit on it with people using it as an alternative when they can't wash their hands. There is production in the UK of antibacterial gel, although not all of it is produced in the UK. And we're being reassured that the manufacturers and the suppliers, the retailers, are going to do as much as they can to get quantities through as quickly as they can. So I think that's just watch with interest. But you don't, the NHS website, the BBC website have got brilliant tips on staying hygienic.